Okay, so you've just finished all of the advanced tutorials in our course, and it's now time to create an advanced streaming setup. I'm not going to be using the webcam, which is usually in the bottom right corner here for this tutorial, because a lot of the plugin settings and general OBS Studio settings will be needed to be seen down here. So we're going to keep the webcam off for this particular one. It's going to be a longer tutorial, so if you don't already have a glass of water or a cup of tea or coffee, go and grab one now, pause the video, and we'll get going. So the first thing you're going to want to do is add a theme or style, general color scheme and style to your stream. You can, of course, create all of these yourself using Photoshop or After Effects, but an easier way would be just use a plugin that will do all of this for you and install overlays with the click of a button. Now, for this particular tutorial, I'm going to be using Owned Pro. That's Owned, spelled O-W-N 3D Pro. We talked about these in the tutorial. All you need to do is join for free using your streaming account, and then when you do log in, this will be replaced with a download button. You just download the exe file, run the exe file, and then restart your OBS Studio. And then when you click Tools, you will see the Own Pro setting just here. So we're going to click on that. Every Owned Pro account, basic account, comes with 5 free overlays. And you'll see at the top here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not sure, these don't change very regularly, so these might be permanent selections, but they do the trick if you're looking for a simple but effective animated overlay for your stream. So speaking of simple, why don't we download this simple plugin, this simple overlay even, and you can see it creates an entirely new scene collection with 3 scenes. We've got live scene, starting soon, just chatting, and in each scene we have different overlays. So we have our little boxes down here for our stream labels, our webcam borders. We've got follower, subscriber, donation. All of this is included in the download. So that's pretty cool. And there you have it. You already have a very effective layout for your stream. But now what we need to do is populate it. It's time to use text GDI sources to populate your stream labels areas. So you see up here, we have latest follower, latest subscriber, latest donation, and latest cheer. Those are the areas that we're going to populate. Now, you're going to need to have downloaded stream labels already. This is something that we covered in the tutorials. So if you haven't done so yet, go back and check that out because you're definitely going to need this. And you're going to have to check your directory as well. So you see this folder button up here. Let's click that and just double check where Streamlabs is saving your files. So for me, I've made a folder inside my documents folder called Streamlabs files. So that's where I'm going to have to look for the text files. Now, first one, latest follower. I'm going to go plus in the sources. I'm going to click text GDI. I'm going to click latest follower text. Okay, and then I'm going to go, very importantly here, read from file. If you don't click read from file, you won't see the browse option. Browse. And here I want to find my latest follower. So I can use the find button in the top here. I'm just going to find follow and click enter. And it will give me all of the follower texts. So let's have a look. Latest follower, most recent follower, it might be called as well. Total follower count, most recent Facebook follower, most recent follower. That's the one. So I'm going to click open, and it should automatically tell me that information from Streamlabs. Now, inside here, I can obviously change all the fonts if I want, make it look a little bit funky. Let's go with something. Let's go barn shrift light. Never used that before, but it looks okay. Looks okay. I'm going to resize that, and I'm going to drag it into place next to latest follower, making sure it's not ridiculously big or ridiculously small. There you go. I'm just going to click on that source and click down on the D-pad once to make sure it's aligned, maybe up a little bit more as well. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Now, because that's read from file, every time you get a new follower, that will update with a new follower's name. We're going to do exactly the same for latest subscriber, latest donation, latest cheer. So let's do that now. Latest sub. Okay, read from file, browse, and we're going to go for subscriber. So I'm just going to search sub. There is session, most recent subscriber, total subscriber, all time, monthly, We're looking for most recent, I think. Now, this can be a bit of a pain in the butt looking through all of these, but you will get there eventually. Session most recent subscriber. That could work if you don't change all of your session times. Most recent total YouTube subscribers. Most recent YouTube subscriber. Most recent subscriber. There we go. JellyDuck100. GG's JellyDuck100. Whereas barn shrift light. Let's put that on. Okay. Resize. And up we go. Now, it's important, when you resize the text, you're not actually changing the size of the fonts. You're only changing the size of the source. So you can actually just change the size of the text down to the relevant size. I find it easier just to resize the source, but sometimes if you do resize just the source, instead of changing the font size, it can make the text look pixelated. So just keep an eye on that and make sure that's not something that's happening to your sources as you resize them. Read from file. This time we want latest donation. Most recent donation, I think it's called. Monthly, donation goal. Donation latest amount. Donation train latest amount, that won't be it. Session YouTube, weekly donation amount. Let's have a look. Looking for recent. I'm just going to put recent in the search as well. Recent is not on here. So we're going to go with session most recent donation, which is also fine. Donation goal, monthly donation, weekly, top donation, session donation amount, session. Why am I not getting sessions? I'm going to actually cancel this find. And we're going to see what else is in the file. Let's go back and we'll go browse, get rid of the search of sub. And let's see. Weekly subscriber count. Now, if you do get stuck here, like I am, we can go into Streamlabs and just take a look at the settings and then drop down here. So we've got monthly tips. I'm logged into Twitch right now, so it might just be that it's calling it tips. I think we're going to go session, recent, most recent monthly tipper. I think we're going to have to go. They do have different terms for different platforms. So if you're using YouTube, it will be donator. If you're using Twitch, it will be cheerers. This is why. And it can get a little bit confusing at times. Most recent cheerer, that's why. So I'm going to go into here. Now if I search cheerer, most recent cheerer, there it is. Beautiful. Now obviously, our latest donation section is going to be our donation session text. So I'm going to go into text GDI. I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to go into Streamlabs, which I've already closed. Let's open it up again. Whoop. And I'm going to go to settings. And I'm just going to have a look down this list and see. It's probably tippers. Most recent tipper. So let's go into read from file, browse. Recent YouTube sponsor, YouTube subscriber, YouTube chatter, YouTube super chatter would also work if you want to use super chats. Most recent donator, there we go. I don't know why that didn't come up when we searched for it earlier. That's very strange. But anyway, we're there now. I didn't change the text of the last one. Barn shrift light to this one. Resize. And let's put it in here. Now, some of them might have to be a little smaller than the others because of the size of the message. Obviously here you've got IzzyNub donated $100 or $10. I don't particularly like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Streamlabs and I'm going to change the settings of that text GDI file. So now I'm looking for tippers. Top monthly tipper, monthly tips, recent tippers, cheer amount, cheerers, donations, followers, subscribers, all-time donators, top donators, donation amount, donators, most recent donator. And we're going to get rid of donated. And hopefully that should update it to being no longer Izzy donated $10, but it will actually get rid of the donated and be a little bit smaller. Now, it does take sometimes a little bit of time to update, 5 to 6 minutes. So just wait for that to update and it will get rid of the text in the middle. But now we are populated on the top line here. And I'm going to put that next to cheer and also need to change the font for that. And there are our stream labels. Now, we also need stream labels for the webcam frame and the boxes underneath. You can see we've got the star and the donation sign and the love heart. All you need to do is copy the sources that you have already made. This one here, I'm going to rename to latest donation because I didn't give it a name, and the one before was actually latest cheer. Yeah, it's already in use, so we can't do that. The latest cheer and latest donation. All you need to do is copy those sources and paste them and move them to the bottom of your screen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Dark Shadow, latest follower, for example. I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm actually going to move that down into this box. Where's the love heart? There's the love heart, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Now, as you can see right now, that kind of looks a little bit crappy. It's very, very small. This webcam box and the dark shadow box, we're going to group together and make larger. So I'm actually, in a second, I'm going to make a group for these. But let's move all of the texts down first, and then we will make a group for them. Because then if you move them, they all move together, and it's a lot easier. Latest donation is the $, so that's going to be bottom left here. I'm just going to alt the side of that and just put Izzy Nub with the latest donation. We don't need the amount for now. That's fine. And you see when I altered that, it didn't actually crop the original. So if you do alt crop, so I'm holding the alt button now and going in from the sides, it doesn't crop the original, which is very, very useful. Cry Games is the latest cheer. He is the diamond. So I'm just going to put Cry Games and not the amount. Let's make him a little bit bigger. There we go, Crier. And who's top left? Star, which is Jelly Duck, latest subscriber. Oh, I've already copied him, actually. There we go. And there you go, Jelly Duck. Awesome. Now, these top 4 are with this frame here. So, which frame is that? It is webcam. Just webcam. So, I'm going to drop them down into this webcam folder. I'm going to grab them, the 4 at the bottom there, highlight them all. I'm going to pull down on here. You might have to just do a little bit of waiting. There we go. Now I'm going to drop them into the webcam folder. Now this way, they are in there with the webcam info frame. And if I click on this source here, it's going to move all of them together, which is awesome. It means that you don't ever have to move any of those text sources individually again. Now, obviously, you also have this frame here, which doesn't have the text info at the bottom. I'm just going to hide that for now because I don't want that. I've already got this webcam frame set up down here. Similarly with this one, I'm going to get rid of it. And this one here. Now, those two would be used for green screens. You see they haven't got the frame or the border around the webcam. That's because it's a green screen frame. But we're not going to use green screen right now. We're just going to use a standard webcam. Let me get rid of those. Oh, I did delete it though. We don't really want to delete it, do we? Let's just hide them and hide them. Now, there are a few other text sources that we need to sort out on this stream scene collection. If I go to starting soon over here, there is a section at the bottom here for your social medias. And you'll see you've got the YouTube logo, Twitter logo, and Instagram logo. Luckily enough, these logos are individual files. They're not built into the background. So you can hide them and make them appear. If you don't have YouTube, you can make that disappear. If you don't have Instagram, you can do that with the Instagram logo too. But for now, all you need to do, these are not live read files. These are just static text files. So I'm just going to call this, what should we call this? We'll call this Media TV. So our YouTube is called Media TV. Our Twitch is called Media TV. And our Instagram is called, let's make it a little bit different, Media IG, whatever. But whatever your handles are, this is a great place for you to be able to show your viewers what they, or where they should be going for all of your social media news. If we go over to just chatting, of course, we do have here a section for your main focus, whatever that is, your game or, I don't know, your IRL stream, could be anything, a live chat, your webcam frame here, and also some stream labels boxes at the bottom here. So we've got the love heart, the star, and the donate. So if we go back to live scene, now the love heart is latest follower text, the star is latest sub, and the dollar is latest donation. So I'm just going to click those 3. I'm going to right click and copy. Of course, you can use Control C if you want. I'm going to go over to just chatting. and I'm going to paste and drag them into their relevant boxes. So Izzy Nub was latest donation, so that's going to be the $sign. And we've got Jelly Duck, who was the latest follower. No, he was the latest. Oh, we'll go and check. Latest sub, I think. And Dark Shadow was the latest follower. Let's just double check on that. Was Dark Shadow the love heart? Yes, he was latest follower. So there we have it. You've now got your stream labels moved over to here as well. They are red text GDI files, so they will actually change as your followers change. Now, we also have here this live chat area. There are a few ways you can get your live chat into your stream. One of the most popular is by using Streamlabs. And inside Streamlabs, you can use a browser source to get your chat over to your stream. But actually with Owned Pro, when we brought in that overlay, they also added their own chat box. Now, this is linked directly to your stream. So if I go over to my Twitch channel right now, you see I'm not live. I've already tested it on the right here, but if I put, hey, noob, and then I go over to my stream, ta-da, the chat box has automatically updated. So just by using Owned Pro, you have automatically added a few widgets that would take a little bit of time to do otherwise. So that's great. It means you don't have to redo your text box. And similarly, if you want to put that chat box on another stream or another scene even, all I need to do is right click on Own Chat, copy, go to Live Scene, or wherever you want to put it, and just paste. And your live chat will appear on the right-hand side of the screen. So I'm actually going to leave that there. I'm also going to add a little bit of transparency to it, just so my viewers can see what's going on behind the chat. So I've gone to the filters on the Owned Chat scene. The Owned Chat source, sorry, not the scene. I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to go color correction. There are other ways of doing this, but I personally use color correction. I'm just going to put this down to like 0.85. Let's put it to 0.85. Now, when there's black behind it, obviously you're not going to see much transparency. But when we do add a window capture later, or a display capture, or a game capture, you will be able to see the game or your stream very, very slightly behind that chat box, which makes it a little bit less intrusive. One thing we didn't do earlier was group these text sources with the background overlay. You see here, if I move that, they don't all move together, and that could cause for a little bit of confusion down the line. So let's go ahead and group all of these with the background overlay. You see I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4 text sources here. The overlay is right here in this overlay folder. So I'm just going to drag this down, wait for it to catch up, and I'm going to drop them into the overlay folder. This way, when I move one, it moves everything and nothing goes out of position, which is great. Now, this is where the process might differ slightly for different people, and it all depends on what you want to stream. If you want to stream an IRL stream, you will use an entire camera as your stream focus. If you want to stream a game, you will go ahead and use game capture as your stream focus. But the basics are essentially the same. We're going to take our main focus, we're going to add it to our stream collection, and we're going to send it all the way to the back of the sources list so that everything else lays on top of it. For me, today, I've decided that I want to stream some chess. So I'm going to go ahead. I've actually got chess open in my browser, my Edge browser here. So we all know that when you want to stream a browser source, you use browser source, right? Wrong. For this live feed, I want to use a window capture. It's a window that I have open on my computer, and I want to capture that one window. Browser source, of course, is used for widgets, lifetime widgets, not particularly used for capturing windows. Let's go to my window that I want to capture. I see here, Play Chess Online, edge.exe. I'm going to click OK, and there we have it. But it does add the window capture to the very top of our sources list, meaning that everything else is hidden behind it. So what I need to do, I need to click on window capture and just tap the down arrow a couple times. And we get sent all the way down to the bottom. Now, this is another area where people's experience will be different. For me, when I'm streaming chess like this webcam is going to be so in the way, you won't be able to see anything that's going on. And the chat box here is overlaying on this side a little bit. So you'll need to play around with your settings slightly, or your little overlays here, to make sure that none of them are intrusive on your main focus. I'm going to take my webcam, I'm going to put it down in the bottom right here. because when I play, this character selection scene actually turns into like a statistics area. So that's not particularly important. And I'm going to take my chat. I am going to keep it over here, but I'm going to just make it a little bit smaller so that it fits in the side here and not overlaying any of the important stuff. Let's put it right there. It's not overly huge, and it's probably not ideal right now. I will have a play with this at some point. If this area turns out to be not so important in the game, I will actually keep it at this size. But for now, we're going to leave it as such. Now, when I'm playing, obviously, I will be playing in my window. And I will know a little bit more about how to organize my overlays at the top here and at the bottom and my webcam frame. This is purely trial and error. Keep trying, keep recording, so you know when you record, it actually records what everyone would see on stream, right? That's the best way of testing. So record a game or two or a stream or two, watch it back, and just play around with the position of your overlays to make sure that they look good and they fit in well on top of your game. Now I want to make sure that all of my audio is correctly configured. So the first thing I'm going to want my listeners or viewers to hear is my microphone. So I'm going to go to Live Scene and Sources, and I'm going to add an audio input capture, press OK, and the microphone I want on this stream is my microphone array. I'm going to click OK. And now you'll see the audio input capture is capturing my vocal audio up here, which is fantastic. Another thing I'm going to want is for the stream to pick up my audio from chess. And actually, what I'm also going to have is I'm going to have Spotify open down here playing some music in the background. And let me go turn that down so we can't actually hear it through the mic. What I want to do is I want it to pick up all of my desktop audio. So when we have desktop audio configured like this, which is a default, by the way, this will already be there. It will capture any sounds coming out of your system. So if I go to settings and I go to audio, you see desktop audio is set to default. This defaults to your default sound driver card. So that will be set at default, and you can test it by turning your music up and down. If I turn that up, you'll see that it gets a little bit louder in the mixer down here. Let's turn it down. There we go, that will do. So now I've got my music audio and I've got my microphone audio. It's time to spice it up a little bit and add a little bit of excitement to the stream. Now, you're going to want your audio to sound as professional as possible. So we're going to add a few filters to your microphone to make that sound as professional as it can. The audio output capture, by the way, I have replaced the desktop audio with the audio output capture purely so we can add filters to it in a second. So don't be confused by that. Desktop audio has been muted, and I've just added it as an audio output capture source instead. Let's go to microphone. Let's press filters, and I've already got a few on here from before. Let's get rid of those, and I'll show you how to do it from the beginning. Now, first thing we're going to want to add is a compressor. Let's go to compressor, OK. And what this is going to do is it's going to compress the loud noises and compress the low noises of your audio to give it a very normalized and radio sounding flat voice, which is exactly what we want as streamers and casters. I'm going to put the ratio up a little bit to around 12, but generally the default settings here are pretty good for a compressor. We're also going to add a noise suppression filter. I would put this onto speaks and put it down to about around -45. This will get rid of the worst of your noise problems if you do have background noise on your microphone. And finally, I'm going to add a limiter. The limiter means that no matter how loud you speak, your audio for your viewers will never go over 8.10 decibels, or however you set this. I would set this around 8 or 9. I'm going to put it on 8.4 and click close. Now, no matter how loud I speak now, my audio will have no way of going above this mark here. Absolutely no way. I don't want to scream because I'm recording a video, but if I did, it would be limited at this point here, which is perfect. Now, there's one other filter I wanted to show you which will set you apart from other streamers, and that is audio ducking. Audio ducking is essentially when one audio source makes noise, it reduces the volume of another audio source for a temporary amount of time. So if I go to audio output capture, which I'm actually going to rename to PC and game audio. I'm going to right click on that, go filters, and go to compressor again. But this time we're not going to play around too much with the compression settings, except putting the threshold down to -54. And we're going to go to sidechain ducking source, and we're going to put this to microphone and click close. Now, whenever I speak, you see when my microphone goes up here? The PC and game audio completely ducks out. Whenever I'm speaking, the PC and game audio goes silent. Now that's maybe a little bit more than you want it, so I would go into here and just put the threshold up a little bit. If I put it around -43, you see, if I click close now, you can still get a little bit of PC and game audio when I speak. Play around with those settings and find something that works for you. But if you can integrate audio ducking into your stream, there are not a lot of streamers out there who are currently doing this. And I think it just makes everything way easier for your viewers to be able to hear and listen to you, especially if you have loud music in the background. You can, of course, use external plugins to help you with audio compression. The one that we recommend is Reaper, and you can go to reaper.fm/Ria plugs here, use the EXE download, the 32-bit or the 64-bit here, and what it gives you is a multiple access to multiple interfaces for compression, looping, delay, equalization. If you are into your audio, I highly recommend installing this. And you will be able to find this once installed. If you go to your OBS and you go to your filters for a microphone or an audio output capture, and you go to plus, you will see it under the VST2X plugins. Again, there's a lot of stuff there. So if you know what you're doing with audio, I highly recommend downloading. If you're new to audio compression and equalization, I would suggest sticking with just the default audio filters on OBS. Now it's time to add a few things that are going to make your stream stand out from other streamers doing similar things. A few things that aren't particularly necessary but might make your stream stand out. So what I'm going to add right now is Spectralizer. We've been working with the audio inputs and outputs, so I've been doing microphone and PC and game audio, and what I want to do is I want to create a visualizer, on-screen visualizer for that audio, so that when I speak, we've got some bars or some circles reacting to the audio wave as I speak. Now, you will need an external plugin for this effect, and that's Spectralizer v1.3.4. You can find that on obsproject.com as we showed you in the tutorials. And once that's installed, you need to add it as a source. So I'm going to Sources, Spectralizer here. Okay, and at the moment we're not seeing anything on screen because I haven't assigned it an audio source. I'm going to assign it my microphone. Where is microphone? There is microphone. And now, when I speak, you'll see the bars are reacting to the way I speak, which is awesome. What is my color scheme? So I've got like an orange and black color scheme. I might go for an orange for the bars. That's probably actually about right. I can change the bar width if I want them wider. Let's drag it over, see what happens over here. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger here. So if I drag the boundaries of the Spectralizer, I can just drag it into place. And there we have it. I've got a Spectralizer above my webcam frame, looking fly as anything. I haven't even really done anything to it. I haven't changed any settings. If you do want it to be more or less reactive to the way you speak, you can change the gravity of the Spectralizer. Here, I'm reducing the gravity, so they're all going a bit crazy. If I increase the gravity, it's a bit harder for them all to move and a little bit more stylish, I think. But I'm going to leave it on about 0.8. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to leave that there. But what I do want to do, I want to make sure that if I drag it, it doesn't go over my webcam frame. So let's take Spectralizer and we'll just click, 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 click on the down button and put it below everything except for my game capture. And there we go. That is your Spectralizer. And if you do want to change it so it's reacting to your music instead of your microphone, I'm just going to reduce the gravity a little bit so that it moves a little bit more for the music. I'm going to change the audio source to PC and game audio. Now, when I stop talking, it continues because it's reacting to this PC and game audio instead of my microphone. For now, though, let's keep it on microphone because I think it looks a little bit cooler. And there we have it. That is your spectralizer for your microphone. You can obviously drag and drop that wherever you want on the stream. Personally, I find it sits better on top or below a webcam frame, but it's entirely up to you. Now, obviously, many streamers are going to want to add a webcam to their stream. You should already know how to do this by now by going to plus and video capture device and choosing your webcam. I am going to use an image for this just because it's slightly less CPU intensive whilst I'm recording my screen. This is Dr. Stream right here. I'm going to bring him down and put him in the corner in the frame here. Now, obviously, that doesn't fit in that frame, but what I can do is use the hotkey for crop to make it fit. So I'm just going to drag the top so that it fits inside that frame. Let's put it below the webcam folder in our source list here. There he goes, he's now below. And I'm just going to crop the sides by pressing Alt and dragging in those squares. This is a really easy way to crop your images inside OBS without actually having to add a filter. And there you go, he fits. Now, once your webcam is installed, there's a couple of things you might want to do with it. Number one being, I'm facing the wrong way right here. I might actually want to transform this image 180 degrees, flip it horizontally, not flip. Okay, let me show you if I rotate it 180 degrees. That's not something we want. What I do want to do, however, is transform and flip it horizontally so that it's facing into the stream and not out of the stream. This is an excellent feature of OBS Studio, but just be warned, if you have like text on your shirt or text on a poster behind you, that text is now going to be back to front. So if you do have text that people need to read, probably not the best idea to flip your webcam. Now, another thing you might want to do is add a green screen effect, in which case you probably won't have the whole border frame here, but it doesn't matter. I'll show you how to do that anyway. Here is, where is our image? There he is. I'm going to right click. This works exactly the same for webcams. Go to filters, press plus, and go to chroma key. I'm going to press OK. And for me, the settings have worked pretty darn well, actually. I can increase the similarity to remove a higher range of colors or reduce it to remove a lower range of colors. But I'm just going to leave it at 302, press close. And now if I enlarge Mr. Dr. Stream here, you'll see that he does not have any background and he's completely transparent. This is exactly what you need to do with your webcam if you want to have a green screen on stream. The next plugin you might want to use in your advanced stream setup is the Move plugin. Now, the Move Transition plugin is a great plugin for when you have a scene, such as our live scene here, and the background changes regularly enough that having your webcam down here or the bar at the top here can sometimes be in the way of important information. And you want to very, very sleekly and cleanly move these sources across the screen without having to do it yourself by dragging and clicking and dragging. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I've just realized that these are not grouped with the spectralizer and webcam. So let's just take image and spectralizer and drop them into the webcam folder. There we go, that's better. And we are going to add the Move Transition plugin. So you will need to go to the internet and you'll need to download the plugin for Move Transition like we did in our advanced tutorials. And then once you have, you'll see that in the transitions in the bottom right here, you will have an option for Add Move. Now, before we do that, we need a second scene, which is very similar to the scene we have right now. So I'm going to duplicate Live Scene, and we're going to call it Live Scene 2. And in Live Scene 2, I don't want the bar at the top here. So I'm going to go and find that bar, and I'm going to delete it. So where is my bar at the top? It's going to be my overlay, isn't it? It's going to be the sample or simple overlay own pro. I'm simply just going to delete that, or delete that entire folder. And then I'm just going to go back to Live Scene and make sure it hasn't deleted it in there, which it has not, which is excellent. And I'm also going to want the webcam box to not be in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I want it to be in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So let's drag that all the way to the top right. And now this is helpful. If I had something down here that I wanted my viewers to see, this is when we'd use the move transition. Because in live scene number 1, this bottom right hand corner is completely covered up. In live scene number 2, we've got it a little bit open so people can see. Now let's add the move transition. So I'm going to go to scene transitions and go add move. Let's go to that. And we're going to go OK. And we're going to flick to live scene number 2. And you're going to see that the webcam source is going to move from top to bottom and bottom to top. Now that's because in both scenes, we have matching source names. We have the matching source names of webcam and all of these sources here. And if we go into the move settings, you'll see that when there are matched items and matched sources, they ease in and out and they don't transition. They ease in and out and they don't transition. So they move from one spot to the other. When items are appearing, when they're not in the other scene, they ease in and out. Easing function is cubic, and the position they come from at the moment is the center left. I want them to come from the top. So let's press top, and when items are disappearing, I also want them to go out to the top. So when we go back to live scene, you'll see that it came from the top, and when it disappears to the top as well. This is super, super useful, like I said, for when you have maybe content underneath this webcam here that you want your viewers to be able to see, but at the moment the webcam's in the way. If we use the move transition, all the information you want is still on screen, it just moves it to another part of the screen. Looks very, very clean, very sleek, and it's definitely a plugin that will set you apart from other streamers. One of the final things I do before you go live is obviously to check all of your streaming settings. So let's go into settings, and I'm going to go through all of the settings to make sure that you have everything checked that needs to be checked. Now, in general, there's not a lot going on here that we need to make sure is checked in order to have a good stream. However, I would turn on show confirmation dialog when streaming starts. This means that the application will tell you, look, you clicked stream. Are you sure you want to stream? That stops you from going live accidentally, which is a big lifesaver in a lot of situations. Now let's go to stream. Obviously, you're going to want to connect your account, whether that's Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or whatever they have here that you want to connect to. Just click connect account and you can log into your streaming profile. Output. I would keep this mode on simple. A lot of people online on YouTube videos tell streamers to set this to advanced and show them loads of really complicated settings. It's not applicable to most streamers. Keep your video bitrate accessible at around 4,000 kilobytes per second if you have a stable internet connection. Encoder should almost always be set to hardware, whether that's NVENC or QSV, but you can also use software. Software is your CPU. For now, I would just set that to hardware, which is your GPU, which will manage all of your streaming needs. Audio bitrate doesn't need to be higher than 128, and keep enable advanced encoder settings off for now. In audio, this is all dependent on what audio you use. I've got my desktop audio set to default, but that doesn't really matter when you're using audio output capture sources. Your microphone, you can connect through here if you want, but again, if you're using an audio input capture source, you can just select the microphone in the source settings. Video settings. I've got mine currently set to 1080. Base canvas resolution is the resolution of your system. Your output scaled resolution is the resolution that your viewers will see. In most cases, it is best to keep these the same. And what that means is that your computer doesn't need to downscale your resolution, which just saves a bit of CPU. And to be honest, most PCs should be capable of doing 1080 these days. FPS values should be at 30 or 60, depending on how your computer is performing with OBS Studio. Hotkeys we'll talk about in a second. Advanced settings. I would set your process priority to above normal. This means OBS Studio will be the last thing to lag if your computer is struggling. And what else do we have here? In network settings, you could select dynamically change bitrate to manage congestion. This is a beta service, but apparently it's working quite well. And what it does is if you start to have internet drops, it will dynamically change your bitrate value. It will lower it to match your internet internet connections. So it's in beta stage. It's definitely being tested. But if you are having issues with internet speed, and there you have it. That is one way, or one very quick way, of setting up your stream in your OBS Studio for a professional and clean looking stream. Now, obviously, there are a lot of plugins and features that we didn't touch on here that we did in the tutorial. It is not always ideal to have 100 plugins installed and in use in OBS Studio. Remember, streaming is an extremely CPU and GPU intensive process. The more plugins you have installed in your stream, the more CPU you're going to be using, and the more likely you might have a crash or drop frames. Make sure to pick plugins that benefit and complement your streaming style. For me, I chose Spectralizer here because it fits in. I know I can color it with my webcam frame, and I know it fits well in this area. I chose the Move Transition because I know I want this area clean in the bottom right hand corner here. However, if I wanted the scenes to transition automatically, I might go ahead and install Advanced Scene Switcher instead. It's all very much a balancing act. But make sure whatever plugins you have installed, they bring complementary features to your stream. The worst thing that you could do is have 100 plugins all over your stream and it just looks absolutely awful. So sure, get some incredible plugins in, but definitely only restrict them to the ones that you really need.